Hey, good camp people. What is going on? Lee Sanders here, 411mania.com, reporter and columnist. And you, my friends, are checking out a new Women of Wrestling reaction edition episode of the RCWR Show, dropping for Thursday of March 17th, 2022. How the heck y'all been, man? Especially those of you that's been going out of your way checking out the WOW Women of Wrestling recaps and my reactions to these episodes. It's hard to believe now, but here we are on episode 28. This week we're talking about episode 28, as we only got 4 more episodes to go. 4 more episodes to go, and then that is it. We will be done for the next couple of months until fall, when WOW Women of Wrestling comes back with all new episodes. I'm ecstatic. I cannot wait. But I tell you what, it's been nice, particularly seeing how you guys, the traffic I'm talking about mainly, it's been nice seeing you guys that's been showing love, whether you're checking out the video editions of these WOW reaction episodes or you're going out of your way to check it out when the audio version is available on demand and on the downloads. I appreciate the love and the support from you guys. I gotta tell you, and it kind of sucks that, I know there's a decent amount of people that are showing WOW Women of Wrestling a lot of love and everything, and they're going out of their way to check it out and everything, but I tell you what, man, at this point, I think it's just going to really be firing on all cylinders when it comes to fall. So I really hope that a lot more people go out of their way if they haven't already. And I like what WOW has been doing on their social media pages. Every single week they have a actual WOW superstar that's doing a watch along, mainly for Pluto. I don't really see that much going on for the CW because they got episodes on the CW and everything, but I like what they've been doing with social media and having the actual WOW superstar every single week do a watch along and interacting with the fan base. I'm telling you, man, when fall comes, it's really going to be popping on all cylinders. Just look back to when that press conference came about where AJ Brooks was revealed. It was revealed that she's going to have a significant hand as far as this new era of WOW Women of Wrestling and everything, this next stage in its development. And I'm telling you, there's going to definitely be a lot more eyes on the product this fall. So, but don't take my word for it. Just wait and see how it's all going to be playing out, man. And remember, because we did say this on last week's episode, but if you guys have not done so already, and you're going to be in the Los Angeles, California area in a couple of months, I believe it's in May actually, they're going to be taping some WOW shows for 3 days. 3 days, they're going to be doing some tapings. You need more information, head on over to WOWE.com. That's WOWE.com. But hey, we're here this week. We're talking about episode 28. Let's go there already, my pretty babies. Now, I got to give mad props, particularly to the energy that was displayed on this episode between David McLane and Steve Dickey. There was just tons more energy. I mean, there's always energy between these two men since they've been doing these episodes. But particularly, I found this episode to be very okay, I see what you guys are doing here, and I like what you guys are doing. Not only was there energy, consistent energy in this episode, but there was more personality between McLane and Dickey that was on full display here for this particular episode, and I loved it on so many levels. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'm not really sure how many of you guys have been paying attention in regards to watching these actual episodes, but we found McLane being very playful, a bit bashful with Stephen Dickey. I remember how this episode had pretty much opened up. It all had to do with the opening match there, as Malaya Hasako was in one-on-one action against Chantilly Chella. And David McLane is saying to Dickey, hey, your wife was telling me how you really love Chantilly Chella's theme song. and you were trying to do a little homework and figure out who exactly was behind that great tune. And I know you've been digging long and hard, and you ultimately had found it. And I also know that you're not that good of a dancer, but you've been dancing to that song at home. And Dickie's like, yeah, McClain, I love that theme song from Chantilly Cella. I love it so much. It's a great jam. I love it. I'm all about those instrumental beats. I really love it. And David McClain just kept driving that home. He was just taking nice little fun jabs at him. He was being playful about it, but he was being pretty bashful with him throughout the entire episode. And I was loving it. Dickie was giving back as well, but he was trying to focus more on what was going on inside the ring. But McClain, look, I don't know if he had some Pepsi before this episode. I'm not complaining. I loved it, and I'm hoping that for the remainder of these episodes, we're getting a lot more of these guys going back and forth, playing with one another. It was really great chemistry, I personally feel. And I would have to say that of all the episodes, because I've pretty much seen all the episodes since they were on Access TV, they came back with new episodes. And what's been happening right now and seeing these lost episodes, the evolution of the two-man chemistry for this announced team between David McClain and Stephen Dickey, I really feel that it reached a new level on this episode. I'm curious if many of you guys would agree with me in regards to that, but I loved it. I found it, because a lot of times, I don't know how it is for you all, but on a quick sidebar, most times when it comes to the amount of wrestling shows that I check out every single week, most times I have my TV on mute so that I can just focus on the in-ring action. Now, of course, if there is a said wrestler that's got a microphone, they're getting ready to cut a little promo, of course I'll unmute the TV, hear what they have to say. But when it just comes to the general in-ring action playing out before my very eyes, I just have my TV on mute. I've got some music playing on the background there, and I'm checking out what I'm seeing on the TV, making some mental notes. Maybe I'm jotting some stuff down, and I mean, that's pretty much it. But as far as commentating teams, I will go out of my way and I'll say, okay, no. You know what? I actually like listening to these guys. They got nice banter. It's good back and forth. Dickey, McClain, definitely. Since I've been checking out WoW, I have been listening to everything that they're saying, and yeah, I've had no problem with them. I definitely love the combination there, just to, because I know some of you guys are probably like, who else do you like as far as commentating team? Who do you unmute for? I definitely unmute for Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. I unmute for Taz and Excalibur. Anytime Rampage is on, by the way, I unmute, because that is just, I love it. I love what's going on there. I unmute for that one. So FYI for you guys. So good energy throughout this whole episode with the commentating team. And when you've got really good energy and they are talking in a way where they're not being silly to the listeners. You understand what I'm saying? They're not being silly to those watching at home. And what I mean by that is, if you can kind of tell a mile away, oh, it seems as though as far as the next big story arc, as far as what's developing before our eyes, maybe we're gonna, and you get rewarded for that by these commentators. And I got to give them mad props for that, because whatever you're thinking, they come at you and they give it to you in that same episode or the very next episode. The way this has been structured so far, to my point, when you look particularly at how this episode opened up, remember when we were on last week's show, I said to you guys, is it even remotely possible that Sophia Lopez, and ultimately getting the last laugh on Tessa Blanchard, is it possible that she went to Venomous and said, hey, homegirl, layman's terms, but hey, homegirl, I've been paying attention to you. I see everything that you've been doing here in WoW so far. I also know that you want to get an opportunity to face the Tessa Blanchards, the Jungle Girls, the Serpentines, all in the name of ultimately getting to that top dog, the WoW Women's Champion. In this case, that champion is the Beast. Hey, yo, you scratch my back, and in return, I'll scratch your back. And remember that? I said that on last week's episode. Go back and check it out. And last 2 episodes actually, and I said to you guys, I wonder if this is a case right here where Sophia Lopez is putting the screws to Tessa Blanchard in a way where ultimately maybe she'll do some type of business with Venomous just to put the screws to Tessa. And in return, that is how Venomous can get in a position where she could become the new #1 contender and face the Beast for the championship. Now, bringing it back to what we just talked about, how whatever breadcrumb WoW has been giving you, and you're expanding upon that thought and you're going a couple of steps ahead, pretty much the pattern so far, by the very next episode, if you're thinking it as you're watching it and you're going, okay, so maybe next episode or the episode after, whatever you're thinking, the pattern as of late, you're rewarded for that thinking, as David McLean and crew, they tell you, as point with the whole Venomous Sophia Lopez situation. You had David McLean brilliantly in the recap of Tessa, Sophia, Venomous being involved in everything. You got rewarded for, yeah, if you thought that Sophia Lopez was trying to put the screws there, yes, you were correct. And as a result of Sophia Lopez getting the ultimate last laugh on Tessa Blanchard, Venomous has now slid into the #1 contender's position. We still don't know what is going on with Jungle Girl. We are now about, if not 3, 4 episodes removed from pretty much the last time that we've seen Jungle Girl, and her absence has not been explained whatsoever. Was she kidnapped by the voodoo doll siren Holla did there? Princess Saucy? What the hell is going on here, right? Weird what's been going on with Jungle Girl, but in either case, we got a nice package pretty much letting us know that as a result of everything that had came about with Tessa Blanchard getting herself disqualified in her match against Venomous from the last episode, Venomous has now slid into the #1 contender spot. That should have been for Tessa Blanchard, but Tessa lost her cool, and we saw how that pretty much had ended and everything as she got herself disqualified. Venomous now slides into the #1 contender spot, and on this same episode, she went up against the Beast for the women's championship. So nice how they had laid everything out right here. Also on this same episode, Lana Starr, Amber O'Neal in tag team action against Faith the Lioness, aka Nikkita Lyons, and Amber O'Neal. So Lana Starr, actually, correction, forgive me there. I missed Chrissy Vane. The tag team here consisted of Chrissy Vane teaming up with Lana Starr to take on Amber O'Neal and Nikkita Lyons, aka Faith the Lioness. So nice solid episode that we had got here. A couple other matches had went down as well, but opening it up, we had Malaya Hosaka, the leader of Exile, in singles action yet again. Exodus and Genocide. I keep wanting to call her Genocide. I don't know why, but Genesis. Why is it so hard for me to remember Genesis and not say Genocide? I will remember Genesis from here on out because Genesis is one of my all-time favorite bands. And if you were to ask me Peter Gabriel or Phil Collins as lead singer, I gotta go with Phil Collins. I've got to. But Malaya Hosaka in one-on-one action against Chantilly Chella. No sign of Sassy Massey. And remember, we did see her, if not on last week's episode, so that would have been episode 27. I'm pretty sure we saw her on episode 26, but you would have thought that Sassy Massey would have been at ringside here in support of her partner there in Chantilly Chella, but nowhere to be found. And you just knew that once you did not see anybody in the corner there for Chantilly Chella, once you saw that there was no Sassy Massey there or anybody else, you just knew this was going to be a numbers game in favor of Exile, and they definitely were going to get a one-up here. Now, look, I thought that the little bit of in-ring action, because this was a pretty short match, but I felt that the in-ring action that we did get was actually pretty good. And remember, I had gave Chantilly Cella a lot of praise, if you guys recall, because from the last episode, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm actually looking at my show notes right now, there was one episode I remember where I gave a lot of praise to Chantilly Cella. She was in action, I think. I want to say maybe it was against Serpentine that she had faced. If you guys can, I'm pretty sure, but I'm actually checking just to I'm actually checking just for the hell of it, because I just want to make sure that I was thinking it right. But I'm pretty sure I am thinking it right. I'm actually looking at her match history right now, because I remember we were on here last week and I was just saying to you guys, man, what a solid matchup that she had against, and I'm pretty sure it was against Serpentine. Give me a second here. I'm already looking. I'm in the 2020 range right now. Here we go. Yes, it was against. Yes, it was against Serpentine. It was on episode 26. It was on episode 26 of WoW Women of Wrestling. Now I remember, if you guys recall, saying, "Wow, I've turned a new leap here, a new leap of faith. I've turned a corner here in regards to Chantilly Cella, aka Ray Lynn. She's actually pretty freaking badass here in singles competition." So to see her on this episode 28, going up against Malaya Hosaka, I'm going, okay, well, this should be a banger classic of a match. And the little bit that we did get to see, it was rather decent, but man, the closing moments of this match was serious buzzkill. And I'm going to explain to you the reason why this was serious buzzkill without being long-winded and drawn out. What made it so buzzkill, you pick it up in the final moments of this matchup. So we've got Cella. She's on a little bit of a good offensive streak. Malaya Osaka is pretty much down and out on the canvas. Cella goes up to the top. She's looking for a high-risk, high-reward maneuver. And Malaya Hosaka gestures her way physically. She puts herself in a position where she gets away from Cella. She's grabbing onto the referee, and she's trying to get the referee to focus on her, as she's basically trying to sell some type of an injury that she feels she has with her leg or whatnot. And as she's grabbing on the ref and she's trying to show the ref, hey, something's going on here with my limb, we've got freaking Exodus and Genesis. They climb up and they push Cella off the top turnbuckle. And the way that Cella lands, she's pretty much landing on her booty. And the ref, literally like right beside the ref, and the ref is looking kind of, ref, you don't hear all that thumping and crashing sounds and all that. It was pretty obvious. It was clear as day. But meanwhile, you've got Malaya Hosaka, who's continuing to grab on the ref and let him know, hey, I don't think I'm doing pretty good here. I think I'm kind of hurting here. And so while all that is going on, you've got Genesis and Exodus. They come up from behind. Somehow the referee is oblivious to all of this, as I guess he's that tuned in to helping out Hosaka. And both of them pretty much tag team on Cella. They pick her up and they pretty much do a not a spine buster, but it was kind of like a double suplex basically that they did on her, making sure that she crashed on her stomach first, and then they quickly made their exit. Ref, how are you missing all of this? You're that oblivious? What the hell? Malaya Hosaka goes in 1, 2, 3, and that pretty much was the end of that post-match. They continued to beat poor Cella down. Nobody came out. It was just, I didn't like the way that was. For me, the match started off pretty good, seemed very promising, but then we had that hokey dokey finish as far as I was concerned, and that was just, come on. So for me, I just rated that match in my head. I'm going no rating. Had the promise, but that finish, buzzkill right there. From there, we get a recap of the Dixie Darlings and how they always like to pull stunts and everything. And remember, last time we saw them, we got to go back to last week's episode when they helped themselves to those wild tag titles held by our champions there in Fire and Adrenaline. And remember, Adrenaline and Fire, they had extracted a little bit of retribution there. As remember, it was Malaya Hasaka. I have to look at my notes for this one, because remember from the last episode, Malaya Hasaka had went up against Fire, if you guys recall, and Adrenaline was on crutches, but it turns out she was just pulling a fast one, and when she had the right opportunity, she pretty much let Hasaka have it. Remember that? So go back and check out the last episode, get you guys caught up to speed on that. So after the champions made their exit, they were feeling pretty good with themselves, proud of the work they did and everything. The Dixie Darlings came in there, and while one of the twins was causing a distraction by talking to the tag champions, the other twin had quietly stole the tag titles. You're going, okay, how is this going to play itself out? Well, we see on this episode where the Dixie Darlings, they have the tag titles, and they happen to bring it to Jesse Jones. Yes, they bring him to Jesse Jones. Now, meanwhile, Fire and Adrenaline, they're trying to get themselves ready for a photo shoot. And, they're ready to go. They got their makeup, everything. They just don't have the titles. And so we see them now. They're going on the hunt looking for their titles, because they're trying to figure out exactly where the heck did they place them. Meanwhile, going back to Jesse Jones there, Jesse Jones, she's going, okay, guys, how did you get these? And they pretty much, yeah, well, you kind of know how we did it, right? You know what we did. Come on. And Jesse Jones, she's saying, okay, all right. I guess you guys are trying to make up for jacking my boots from a couple of weeks back. And they're going, yeah, you can say that. That's exactly what we're trying to do. So Jesse Jones, she goes, okay, look, we got to keep this on the low, but let me tell you something. You work with me, and man, I'm telling you, we can have the end result of this go down in a way where you get a shot at the tag titles. Now, I just couldn't help but take a pause at that and say, well, wait a minute here. Why is Jesse Jones all of a sudden going 180 here and is willing to help out the Dixie Darlings? Why is she willing to do that? Because that just makes no sense to me whatsoever, because the Jesse Jones that we've been seeing on these past couple of episodes, now that she's broken up from Amber O'Neal, she's trying to get back to basics. She's trying to, as far as a singles run goes, she's trying to reestablish herself and eventually find herself in the main event scene for the Wild Women's Championship. Why take a little bit of a detour in helping out the Dixie Darlings and trying to become the tag champions? Is it a case right here where she sees a little bit of herself as far as their scheming and their hustle and their toughness and all that, and a little bit of that country twang or whatever? What's going on here? But for whatever respected reason, Jesse Jones, and I'm sure we'll see this play out a little bit more in these last couple of episodes, but for whatever respected reason, Jesse Jones is taking the Dixie Darlings under her wings, and she's going to try to help put them in a position where they get a shot at the tag titles. So to be continued on that note. Meanwhile, Steffi Slays was in action against Temptress, a.k.a. Katarina, a.k.a. Katrina Waters, a.k.a. Winter. So many names, I know, right? A.k.a. sound like that joint from the Method Man Takao Judgment Day album, right? A.k.a. remember the little skit with Chris Rock? If you can't say it all, then just say meth, right? Remember that? But anyway, Steffi Slays taking on Temptress. Steffi Slays trying to get a little bit of retribution here for her tag partner in Keita Rush, because remember, Keita Rush had got injured in a blindside attack Not, I know you guys are thinking about, oh yeah, something involved Exile there, didn't it? But no, something actually had went down between Dagger and I'm drawing a blank, Temptress. So Steffi Slays trying to get a little bit of revenge here. This was an okay matchup. Closing moments of this one, we saw Temptress try to do a bicycle kick on Steffi Slays, as if I remember right, Dagger was holding on to Steffi Slays, because Dagger had Steffi Slays' arms kind of in between the ropes and was trying to, hold her and set her up for the bicycle kick. Referee trying to do his best to get control of the situation here at hand. Luckily, Steffi Slays was able to get loose, get out in time, and Temptress inadvertently did a bicycle kick to the face of Dagger. That pretty much incapacitated her. Temptress looking on, wondering what the hell just went down. Steffi Slays comes in with a roll up, 1, 2, 3. Thief in the night, she gets the dub. That's all she wrote. Okay matchup. I was happy that this went longer than what we had for the first match opener. Okay matchup. Look, anytime I get to see Temptress, aka Winner, in action, anytime I get to see her in a match, I know it's gonna be fairly decent, and this actually was a fairly decent match for what it was worth. Meanwhile, tag team action we go. Lana Starr and Chrissy Vane taking on Amber O'Neal and Faith the Lioness, aka Nikkita Lyons. I love the drama that was playing out in this matchup and what drama it was in this one, because every time you had Amber O'Neal get tagged in and Chrissy Vane was the legal man, Amber didn't want to have anything to do with Chrissy. She just refused to face her tag partner. She refused to do it. She just would not. And she would tag Faith the Lioness as result. It's like, nah, I just can't. I can't bear myself. All that history, between the two, she just could not bear herself to do it. And so we saw pretty much Faith the Lioness / Nikkita Lyons do a lot of the work here on offense. When Amber O'Neal was in there, she got her hands on there on Lana Starr briefly, but this was pretty much all about Faith the Lioness getting in a lot of the work for what it was worth. But I love the story that they were telling here of a very conflicted Amber O'Neal and the emotions getting to her, because, okay, yeah, we understand, we get it, because Lana Starr, this was somebody who you spent a lot of time with, and the way she just kicked you to the curb and how it must have hurt your feelings and everything. But then at the same time, to add even more insult to injury, she replaces you with a younger girl, a younger woman, a much younger woman. At that point in time, still a girl, because Faith the Lioness, aka Nikkita Lyons, was 19 at the time during the filming of these episodes. But she replaces you with somebody much younger, pretty much looks at her as a great hot prospect that's going places and takes her under the wing. Things obviously go sour with that, and in the whole process, Lana Starr brings back a old ally of yours in the form of an old tag partner in Chrissy Vane. So a lot of mixed emotions going on here, and I love how Amber O'Neal was really selling that conflicted spirit during this matchup, right down to the point. When we get to the final moments here, we see Faith the Lioness. She pretty much all the work. Remember, she was doing all the work mostly in this matchup. And, we never did really get to that moment where, okay, hot tag. But it did kind of come off as though we were about to see okay, this is a hot tag moment right here, because Faith the Lioness, exhausted, been working as best as she could on offense against Chrissy Vane, but she's now at a point right here where she's got to make a tag. She makes the tag to Amber. Amber gets in there, and she pretty much downs Chrissy Vane for a hot minute. And she's saying to Faith the Lioness, no, come on, let's get in here and let's double team on this girl real quick. So you got Faith the Lioness on one side of Chrissy Vane as she's down on the canvas on her back basically, and you've got Amber on the other side, and they pretty much do a high five, and then they do a booty bump, and you're thinking, oh, we're getting ready to see a nice little double elbow drop. But that's not what happened, as Faith the Lioness, she pretty much is excited about the fact that they're getting ready to do some hot tag team action here, right? They're trying to get the crowd worked up, or at least Faith is trying to get the crowd pumped up as she goes over to the crowd, gestures to them to throw their hands up, right? Get into this. She turns around. Next thing you know, Amber just knocks her head clean silly with a thrust kick, lays her out. And then at that point, Chrissy Vane comes in there, picking up the sloppy seconds there, of what Amber had did. 1, 2, 3. Amber O'Neal and Faith the Lioness, they lose this one. They lose this one because Amber helped the enemy. But wait, it gets much worse. It gets much worse as even more insult to injury. Amber O'Neal takes off her top to reveal the pink and white checkered little colors. And you just kind of smelled this was maybe coming a mile away, because I thought it was rather interesting that, not for nothing, but I remember there was a previous episode of WoW. I can't remember exactly what particular episode, but I can't help but recall that one of the first times we saw Chrissy Vane, she was wearing the same colors that she and Amber used to wear when they were a tag team and everything, with Hollywood Blondes, whatever the respective name of that tag team was. But this go round, now that we're seeing Lana Starr wearing the same colors, I thought it was rather peculiar that David McLean and crew had emphasized it, and it just kind of made me go, are they trying to throw us a little bit of a breadcrumb here about there could be a turn here? I didn't try to overanalyze it, not think too much about it, but to see that Amber O'Neal revealed those same colors, and you got David McLean and crew, and the way they sold that was just freaking brilliant. You're going, oh man, what the hell is going on here? So they continued their assault on Faith the Lioness right down to the point after they really downed her and had her out and about. They grabbed a pair of scissors. Lana Starr did. Lana Starr grabbed a pair of scissors and was cutting off the locks of Faith the Lioness. Yes, cut off her locks. And Faith the Lioness, Nikkita Lyons, she sold the hell out of that. She was just in tears. I mean, she sold the living. I loved it. I ate it up. I was just, okay, I'm really liking this one. Just talk about the ultimate betrayal, the ultimate humiliation. Now the question. Is this a case? Remember, I've been alluding to this the past couple of episodes. Is this a case where Amber O'Neal is so conflicted that she is pretty much in a position where, look, if you can't beat them, join them, and hey, look what I did for you, right? Is she doing what she's doing? I alluded to this a couple episodes back. I said, is she going to ultimately, do something in such a way where she's going to try to get back in the good graces of Lana Starr and try to prove that, hey, I'm still valuable. You should still consider me to be, part of this team and all that. Or is this a case right here where for Faith the Lioness and Amber, okay, you know what? Everything is going exactly according to plan. I feel personally, if you're asking me straight up, I feel personally that Amber O'Neal and Faith the Lioness, they've already worked this out in advance. I really feel as though this is ultimately about getting the ultimate revenge. And I feel that Amber did exactly what she did to really get in good with Lana Starr and Chrissy Vane. And right when their guards are completely down, nice and comfortable, and all that good stuff, that's when Amber is going to strike and get the ultimate sweetest revenge. So we'll see if that's exactly how this is going to play out, or if in fact, no, Amber has just defected yet again here. It's all about trying to feel accepted and all of that. Because remember, we saw Amber O'Neal that was very conflicted, not really sure what she wanted and all of that. So yeah, this is a very interesting arc. Of all the arcs that they have going on in Women of Wrestling for these lost episodes, I'm finding this one to be the most intriguing here. This is the one that just really, okay, where are we going with this exactly? Main event match, and Team Blondeage on that note. Team Blondeage is a go between Chrissy Vane, Lana Starr, and Amber O'Neal. Team Blondeage. Main event match, Beast versus Venomous, championship match for the WoW Women's title. Look, this was an okay match. I like the fact that the way this match was booked, you pretty much had Beast in a position here. Okay, you know what? You've been a fighting champion. Anybody that has been wanting to step up to the plate, you've pretty much represented. You've stepped up. You've delivered. You've accepted every single challenge that has come your way. But this was perhaps, since Beast has been the champion thus far, this probably was a one true challenge per se, where strength, size, sheer brutality, just check, almost a mirror image in an opponent that you're facing here. You're almost kind of facing yourself here in this opponent of Venomous, right? So I like this tale of the tape here. I like the way that this match was designed and how these women were matching each other strength for strength, move for move. But I also like the fact that Beast, the way this match was booked, was able to adapt real quick in a way where she's going, okay, you know what? I can't just rely on sheer strength. I've got to be cunning. I've got to use my speed because I'm definitely smaller than Venomous here, and I need to make sure I use that to my advantage. I'm more athletic than Venomous. I need to use that to my advantage. So I like the way that this was playing out and everything, but it seemed as though for every single time Beast was doing something good on the offense, and she was starting to build up some combos, and okay, all right, let's pick it up. Just right before she could get really hot, Venomous just come in right back and pretty much putting a kibosh on whatever momentum that Beast was able to build up. I like how the action was spilling outside of the ring and how both of these girls were just brawling on each other, and this match pretty much had ended in a double disqualification as a result of the referee getting attacked. If I remember correctly, I'm trying to think who put their hands on the referee first. I can't think if it was, I'm trying to picture who it was, and I can't recall if it was Beast or if it was Venomous. I feel more so it was Venomous that pretty much pushed the referee on his ass, but the way the ref sold it, he acted as if he truly got assaulted there. And you had a bunch of WoW officials come out, separate these two girls. Once that referee that got assaulted got his bearings together, he pretty much called for the bell. Shaw Guerrero letting us know that this was a double disqualification, but still, your Wild Women's Champion is the Beast. So I like the way that this match was booked, because now you have Venomous that, look, obviously Beast and Venomous, they aren't done here by a long shot, because you now have Venomous that can come out of this and she could pretty much say, okay, look here, you people, whether you like me or not, I could care less, but whether you want to speak the gospel or not, safe to say I pretty much had the Beast checkmated. I would have been standing here, the new Wild Women's Champion, but Beast wanted to settle for a freaking count out. Right? So obviously you're going to get a situation here where Beast and Venomous, they are going to go at it again, and I strongly believe it's going to be a no disqualification match. So if you want to kind of build up for that, I mean, you can definitely go in that direction, because for all intents and purposes right now, if you really take a step back and think about this now, Venomous is technically still the #1 contender, because she didn't definitively lose to Beast. But then the other question, what about Jungle Girl? Jungle Girl, the way they got this set up, it's pretty much, okay, well, by default, Jungle Girl, since she's nowhere to be found, she pretty much, has she officially lost her #1 contender spot, or is she still a #1 contender? She just has to, right? So kind of interesting what's going on right there. But I don't have Beast and Venomous just done just yet, not the way that this was laid out. So I would imagine we're definitely going to be seeing these two lock up. Hopefully within these next 4 episodes, we're going to see the finale here of this rivalry between these two girls. Now, something that was pretty cool, normally when Wild Women of Wrestling has been going off, okay, that's it. And by the way, I love how this episode, I thought, was ending, because these two girls in Beast and Venomous, they are just beating the living tar out of each other. They are just beating the holy crap out of each other, taking it all around the arena. You're going, okay, this is badass. This is how you pretty much need to end it. And whatever we aren't able to see, run it back on the next episode, show us some exclusive footage and everything. So you got the logo, everything pops up. You're thinking, okay, this episode is over. Can now go on ahead and, right, get out the app. And next thing you know, we get a nice little Easter egg of the Voodoo Siren. She's going over tarot cards, basically. I think that's how you pronounce it. She's going over the little psychic cards, little medium cards, and she's trying to predict, okay, what's in the future here. And Princess Aussie and Holiday, they're walking around and everything, and Voodoo Doll Siren, she's pretty much doing her thing. Next thing you know, the Psycho Sisters crash the scene, and they just start beating the holy crap out of these girls. I mean, pandemonium. I love the way that this was all set up and the way the camera was knocked down to the floor and everything. I was loving all of this. And the very last thing that you see is Razor. I love Razor. You see Razor. She's fighting with Voodoo Doll. And somehow Razor ends up getting some type of fireball or something. I don't know if it was maybe some type of a prop that normally Voodoo Doll uses, but Razor ended up pretty much spitting a fireball in the face. I'm just gonna call it for what it was worth. She pretty much just spit fire. Literally, she spit fire in the face of Voodoo Doll. And Voodoo Doll is just screaming her ass off. And the very last thing you see is Razor pretty much coming up to the camera that's on the floor, crouching down. And she pretty much says, no one messes with the Psycho Sisters. And, it fades to black with a scream. And so you're going, okay, we still got this great continuation here of a great feud that's been happening with the Psycho Sisters and Holiday, Voodoo Doll, and Princess Aussie. Okay, this is great. Because remember, it was a couple episodes ago that I told you guys they had that epic brawl fighting in the streets, by the concession stands, merchandise table, and I mean, it was badass. And we're like, okay, let's continue to build off of that. And it kind of got a little ice cold for a hot minute, but then we had that match between Holiday and, oh man, who was it? It was Holiday and I want to say Siren. No. It was Holiday. Maybe it was Fury. Maybe it was Fury and Holiday. I've got to go back and look at the notes, but you guys know exactly the match that I'm talking about. But then post-match, it was just all pure chaos once again. So it's nice to see that we got the continuation here of the rivalry that's been going on with these respected girls here and everything. So it was a nice, surprising way to close out this episode of WOW, Women of Wrestling, I gotta say. We've got the continuation here of Venomous in the main title picture. You know, that's not properly resolved. You got to get proper resolution there, right? So it's going to be interesting to see in the next episode how that kind of gets approached. Obviously, what we just talked about there with the Psycho Sisters, Holiday, Voodoo Doll, Aussie, right? You got that development that's happening there. You have the Dixie Darlings now working with Jesse Jones and being put in a position where they can get a future shot at the WOW Tag Champions from Fire and Adrenaline. You've got Exile that pretty much is still running roughshod here within reason in the tag division, although they've gotten kind of a little bit ice cold here, so to speak. Going to be interesting to see, you know, how things will pick up with them and everything. So a very interesting development. Of course, we've got Amber O'Neal, the biggest takeaway, at least from this episode, Amber O'Neal going back to Chrissy Vane and Lana Starr there. Really, Lana Starr and Team Blondeage in full effect. What does this mean for Nikkita Lyons, aka Faith the Lioness? What does this mean for her on these remaining episodes of WOW going forward? So a lot of stuff up in the air, a lot of interesting arcs that's continuing to develop as we go into these last 4 episodes of WOW, Women of Wrestling. So pretty solid episode that they did this week. Not as hokey dokey as some of the stuff that we've seen in recent weeks, basically from Callie Ray and Casey Dakota, although I gave a lot of praise, if you guys recall, from last week when Casey Dakota had took on Jesse Jones one-on-one. And it looks as though the cowgirl, I said cowboy, but the cowgirl, Casey Dakota, it looks like she's going to be involved perhaps in this upcoming new season of WOW Women of Wrestling, because I believe it was last week she actually did a watch along with fans and was interacting on social media throughout the night. So, you know, safe to say that they were as impressed as I was and wanted to run it back with her. So that's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. So no WOW Women of Wrestling news for this week. Mom is the word. Right now, it's just all about those upcoming tapings in May. So check that out. Check out more information at WOWE.com. But at this point, episode 28 of WOW Women of Wrestling, we are done talking about it. Can you believe it? At this point, we now have 4 more episodes to go, and then we will be done until the fall when WOW Women of Wrestling comes back with new episodes. So, hey, look, I definitely want to know what you guys have been thinking about WOW Women of Wrestling thus far, particularly these lost episodes. So definitely sound off. You can get at me on social media, interact with me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. You can also get at me through comments. If you're checking out the video version, so shout out to those of you that maybe are going to be checking this out via Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, and you want to interact with me, definitely leave comments. And speaking of which, speaking of comments and all that, if you enjoyed the coverage here, do me a huge favor. Only takes you 2 seconds, and it's free. Smash that like button. When you smash that like button, you really help out. Especially you guys that check out the content via YouTube, when you smash that like button, content like what you're checking out right now, it really helps get pushed to the YouTube team as far as their algorithm system goes. Oh, okay. Oh, people like this. Okay. Well, let's recommend this for others to, if you like supporting women's wrestling, you like Wow Women of Wrestling, smash that like. Really helps a great ton. But that is going to do it. Episode 28 in the books for this week's Wow Women of Wrestling programming notes. We pretty much are going to be done until next Monday, which is March the 21st. March 21st, 2022. That's when we'll be back on air with you guys yet again. And, of course, in regards to your... and by the way, yes, as far as this weekend goes, as far as NWA, the Crockett Cup coverage and all that, assuming that's going to be on Fight TV, I definitely will be checking out both nights. I will be doing a post show in regards to both nights. So if you guys are interested, I'm still ironing out the details, but there will be a post show for that NWA Crockett Cup for those of you that are interested. But in the meantime, Monday, March 21st, we'll be back on the air. And then don't forget, every Thursday, as far as these Wild Women of Wrestling recaps go, we're pretty much here every Thursday night, 9:45 p.m., talking all things Wild Women of Wrestling. Until next go round, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe. And most importantly, my pretty babies, be kind to one another. I will see you all next go round. Adios, y'all. Take care.